Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and distinguished participants, I, Shrishti Bajpai, along with my co-host Atul Srivastav, welcome you all back to Communique'24. I hope you enjoyed a delightful lunch and had the opportunity to engage in fruitful discussions during the break. We would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for Communique'24. Starting off with Fluid.life for being the title sponsor. We are also glad to have Pizza Hut as our food partner, Print Mighty as our apparel partner, Campus Times as our youth partner, House of Mandal Art as our gifting partner, and Unicorn for being our digital partner. Before we embark on the second half of our conference, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to embark on a journey of innovation and excellence as we present the dynamic and vibrant glimpse of Symbiosis Institute of Digital and Telecom Management. and gentlemen, we are about to delve into a topic that holds immense significance in the rapidly evolving landscape of artificial intelligence. Our next panel discussion is set to explore the frontiers beyond ChatGPT, guiding our focus towards envisioning generative AI in corporate settings.
The advent of ChatGPT has undoubtedly marked a milestone in the realm of natural language processing, opening the doors for myriad of possibilities. However, as technology propels forward, the corporate world is faced with the challenge of not just embracing, but envisioning the next phase of generative AI applications. Our distinguished panel of experts, hailing from diverse backgrounds and industries, will share their insights, experiences, and perspectives on progressing past ChatGPT. Together, we will navigate through the intricate landscape of generative AI, discussing its potential impact on corporate environment, innovative use cases, and challenges that lie ahead. So fasten your seatbelts as we embark on this intellectual journey into the future of AI in corporate settings. Ladies and gentlemen, moving forward with the next panel discussion on the topic, progressing past ChatGPT, envisioning generative AI in corporate settings. Without further ado, we invite our esteemed panelists to the stage.
We would like to invite Mr. Ankit Sharma to kindly join the panel on stage. Sir is currently working as leader Cloud and Compute Security at Cisco. He is a distinguished Cloud Security Alliance certified cloud security professional, certified ISO 27001 lead auditor, an ethical hacker, and respected leader with a proven ability to direct and enhance quality programs. He excels in developing and implementing test strategies, operational procedures, and quality methodologies, contributing significantly to cross-functional teams in the fast-paced cybersecurity industry. With expertise in end-to-end product security, including cloud infrastructure, AppSec, SecOps, and compliance standards like ISO 27001, SOC 2, Sir has been awarded as Cloud Security Champion 2022 and Cybersecurity Leader of the Year 2023. As a respected member of ISC2 and CSA, Sir continues to contribute to industry advancements, currently focusing on the OWASP Machine Learning Security Top 10 as a security content reviewer. Welcome, Sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is truly a powerhouse in the world of technology and product management. It is with great pleasure that I invite someone who not only leads the way at Microsoft, but also inspires and mentors countless individuals in the field. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Sandeep Chadda. Mr. Sandeep is the Principal Lead Product Manager at Microsoft, an alumnus of the prestigious IIM Ahmedabad. He mentors many product aspirants, entrepreneurs, and product developers to build better products. When he's not shaping the future of products at Microsoft, you can find him sharing his insights on product management through his captivating blogs on Medium and his engaging YouTube channel, both under the handle @crawls, walks, runs. We welcome you, sir.
Next up, we would like to invite Ms. Veenu Yadav to kindly join the panel on stage. Ma'am is currently a principal consultant at Quantum Black AI by McKinsey, specializing in data engineering. With a foundation in computer science and engineering from the esteemed D. Krust Murthal, Ma'am brings a wealth of expertise to the intersection of technology and business, contributing significantly to data-driven initiatives across sectors. Ma'am, with a dedicated focus on delivering transformative data warehousing solutions using big data technologies and advanced analytics, her professional journey has encompassed diverse domains such as life sciences, e-commerce, banking, transportation, healthcare, mining, and agriculture. Ma'am has also worked at various prestigious organizations such as UHG, Snapdeal, and TCS. Welcome, ma'am.
Next up, it is my distinct honor to invite someone whose technical acumen has not only garnered accolades, but has also been a driving force behind digital transformation in smart manufacturing and process redesigning. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Yogesh Datke. Dr. Datke stands tall as a prominent figure with a distinguished 24 years career marked by his award-winning prowess as a technical architect. His contributions have been nothing short of transformative, as he adeptly steered Fortune 100 organizations through pivotal IT revolutions. From orchestrating seamless deployments to spearheading ambitious global infrastructure modernization initiatives, Dr. Datke has been a catalyst propelling organizations on the transformative journey from cables to cloud across diverse geographical landscapes. We welcome you, sir.
Next up, we would like to invite Mr. Abhishek Triganet to join the panel on stage. Sir is a seasoned global product and technology leader. Most recently, he was the Chief Technology and Product Officer at ZS. With a wealth of experience spanning industries such as health and life sciences, financial, education, and advisory, Sir has navigated startups to multi-million-dollar portfolios and teams across continents. Sir is an alumnus of Kellogg School of Management and Boston University, with advanced certifications from MIT and Harvard. Sir is renowned for scaling businesses digitally, managing large multi-site global organizations, and driving innovation and technology management. His expertise in healthcare focuses on clinical, commercial, patient, and payer segments. He is a recognized industry thought leader with past sessions at CII, NASCOM, IITs, IIMs, XLRI, Cornell, Symbiosis, and so on. And Sir has also been published on Economic Times, Data Quest, Business Standard, Z5, and more. We welcome you, sir.
Next up, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Shiva Kumar Dakshinamurthy, affectionately known as Shiva. Sir currently serves as the Head of Services Support and AI Security Researcher at Lenovo. Prior to this role, he dedicated an impressive 21 years of his career to IBM, where he held diverse positions, including heading infrastructure, managing large accounts and security projects, and actively participating in CXO-level discussions. On this academic front, Shiva holds a master's degree in cybersecurity, possesses CISSP certification, and is currently pursuing a PhD in technology management with a focus on generative AI security. Beyond his professional and academic endeavor, Shiva is the chairperson of Dakshara Charitable Trust, a family trust dedicated to promoting social responsibility. We welcome you, sir.
May I now request the moderator, Dr. Ram Kumar, to join us on the stage? Dr. Ram Kumar is a seasoned cybersecurity leader with a 22-year corporate background spanning various multinational companies in diverse sectors. Currently, he plays a key role with the cybersecurity governance, risk, and compliance function for a prominent global automotive OEM. His extensive expertise encompasses information security, corporate security, data privacy, and business continuity. Sir also has a track record of establishing integrated security programs in multinational corporations across sectors like BFSI, IT, ITES, ISP, media and entertainment, healthcare, and automotive. Dr. Ram holds a PhD in information security, an MBA, and a master's in computer applications, along with several professional certifications. Sir is also recognized through numerous industry awards and affiliations with esteemed organizations, with the most recent being awarded LinkedIn Top Voice Badges Cybersecurity and Security Awareness. In addition to his professional achievements, he dedicates his spare time to mentoring and teaching at academic institutions and actively contributes to the field of cybersecurity through speaking engagements and leadership roles in industry associations. He's also an author with a published book on cybercrimes. Once again, we are delighted to extend a warm welcome to each esteemed member of the panel. May I now request Dr. Ram Kumar to kindly initiate the discussion.
The stage is all yours, sir.
Thank you guys for the wonderful introduction. Thank you SIDTM for inviting all of us here. And it's very nice to see such a large crowd of students eager to learn from all the proceedings. And I just want to give a quick disclaimer on behalf of the esteemed panelists here. Whatever we share is our personal view. It is not necessarily representing views of our respective employers. So without much ado, let me get started. We have very limited time. You know pretty well that ChatGPT, when it was launched way back in November 2022, it was a breakthrough domain. and it took the tech world by storm. Everyone swore by it. Until then, AI, NLP, fuzzy logic, all these things were the realm of very high-level researchers. Common men never bothered about it. But once it was launched, it became almost a household word. And in the last 1 year, so many things have happened. We have moved beyond ChatGPT. That's what this particular topic also signifies. We have covered a lot of ground. A lot of other companies are also researching and launched products using the Gen AI technology. And we have this esteemed set of panelists with a lot of hands-on experience who are going to share experiences, their personal expertise and their experiences. So I want to set the context for this discussion. Very recently, there was a report published by KPMG on this topic, on Gen AI, from buzz to business value. That is a report. So this survey, I have some stats for you to quickly learn about this. It states that 77% of respondents expect Gen AI to have the largest impact on their business out of emerging technologies. And 73% believe Gen AI will increase workforce productivity. So these are all opportunities, right? And 71% will implement their first Gen AI solution within the next 2 years. So the industry is pretty much keen. And 64% believe that Gen AI will help their business gain a competitive advantage over their rivals. So they are going to use this as a tool to get better of their competitors. And the top functional area where Gen AI is used among all areas is the tech sector, the tech sector, IT, and the operations area. And there are some challenges as well, especially in terms of, people say that 92% of the people think that Gen AI implementation introduces some moderate to high risk areas. So we know pretty well the security and privacy issues in Gen AI. We have seen ample incidents. We have also seen the knee-jerk reaction or the very quick reaction when big conglomerates banned use of ChatGPT in their organizations, primarily motivated by protecting their IP, right? And 47% are still at the initial stage of evaluating the risk and risk mitigation strategies for Gen AI. So with that, we have a quick roundup of the key stats for both opportunities and the challenges. So let me go over to the panel. Let me start with Ankit here. Have a few areas covering these stats areas, stat domains. First thing is we want to understand the real-world use cases of Gen AI in our corporate settings. So over to you, Ankit.
Yeah, thanks, Ram. So basically, like when we say like Gen AI opportunity, there are a lot of actually. I mean, starting from setting up a marketing goal. For example, like you want to sell your product in the market, then definitely Gen AI can help you a lot in that area. And then developing a new idea. You are trying to develop something new, and you want to see like what is going on in the market. So Gen AI can help you to find out the new new things which is happening in the market, like what customer is looking for and what is in the like going on in the market. So you can enhance your product based on the customer sentiments, what customers are looking for. So you can develop your application, you can develop your product in that way. And from once the development is done, as I told, it can help you to sell it also. It can help you in the marketing point of view as well. And then once sale is also done, then it can help you to take the customer feedback. So Gen AI can provide you the very good chatbots also, where you can take the customer feedback, and based on the customer sentiment, you can provide the solution as well. For example, like if you are trying to book a flight ticket and flight is cancelled and you are not getting your money back and all, then definitely you will be angry. but there's automated chatbots can help you and support you what you have to do next, and then you will get, I mean, a good idea about that. And not only this one, like from if you are hiring a new team member, then it will help you to find out resume screening. So it will screen a resume, it can find out the complete background checks and the expression of expression of a person who is giving the interview, and whether it is a good fit for the organization or not. So those kind of things, generally I can help. This is the, I mean, I can see the real world use case. And also, suppose like if you want to bring up some new innovative idea with your current product and all, the enhancement in your strategy, enhancement in your planning, enhancement in your complete life cycle, all these things can be happening with the help of ChatGPT.
Thank you, Ankit. Sandeep, you would want to add your perspective.
Sure, thanks, Ram. So I know that a lot of us associate with ChatGPT as something that I can chat with, or a DALL-E with which I can generate images, right? That's when we are thinking like a consumer, right? So you're all students. Some of you want to become entrepreneurs, some of you want to build your own products. My advice to you is stop looking at these products like a consumer. Start looking at these products like a maker. Now, what do I mean by that? ChatGPT is not a tool, it's not a screwdriver. It's an entire tool set, it's a platform. Just like operating system is a platform, cloud is a platform, ChatGPT, the entire generative AI suite of capabilities should be looked at as that platform. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, we are not solving one or two problems with ChatGPT. ChatGPT or generative AI as a tech can actually transform technology as a landscape itself. I'll give you some examples. Today you go to Amazon and you buy a product by clicking on it, right? How about you say that, hey, I have a Christmas party where I'm inviting 10 people for a lunch where we are going to be serving Mexican food, and it needs to be vegetarian. And the order is placed and you get your food, right? This is not fiction. Walmart launched this last night, which is built on top of OpenAI of Microsoft, right? And most of my examples will be Microsoft-centric because I work there. I don't know how many of you have seen the latest CES. There was a phone launched yesterday where there is no operating system, there are no icons. It's a ChatGPT interface where you go speak to the phone and say, hey, I need to travel from Mumbai to Hyderabad between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Can you please book a flight for me? You don't need to click on an Expedia or a MakeMyTrip.com. You don't need these apps. Now you see what I'm saying? That it's not a tool, it's not a screwdriver, it's a platform by which you can make amends to any sector, be it retail, be it cloud security, be it automotive, finance. I, for one, am working with nearly 9 different industries where we are building Copilot solutions. So again, my advice to all of you students is stop thinking of ChatGPT, DALL-E, etc. as consumers. Start thinking as a maker as to how can you make a transformation in these industries using these tool sets that are provided to you.
Thanks, Sandeep, for the insights. Over to you.
Thanks, Ram. So Sandeep has very clearly mentioned that we should start looking at these particular platform as a consumer, not as a consumer, but as a developer. But still, if I have to divide the use cases, which in a near-time world makes more meaning in terms of ChatGPT or maybe in terms of Gen AI, then I would like to categorize it into 4 C's. First is customer experience. Second is consumer engagement. Third is coding. And the fourth is cyber expert, you can say. If your business deals in any of these 4 categories, then I'm pretty sure that you are going to take help from Gen AI, and that will be the next world. I can take example in each and every segment. If I'll take the example of coding, because I personally come from a coding background, then you very well know Sandeep's company, Microsoft, they are launching a Copilot. The way Copilot helps a coder since from the start of the product, when you're just thinking about the design of the product, till the time it's deployment, it is massive. The amount of time it saves, it doesn't matter whether the product is an enhanced version or you are building it from the scratch. You have a piece of code which need to be factor, or you have a piece of code which is right now built in language X and you want to move it to language Y. In all these paradigms, Gen AI can be a very, very helpful tool to us. The second C, which I said, is a customer engagement. Whenever you feel that your business is dealt in a way that you are interacting with the customer, then the channel with which you want to interact, the kind of message you want to send to that particular customer, that can be tailored. So in this particular area, if you target your customer with the individual-centric message, that customer experience with the satisfaction is anyways going to enhance, and you are going to take help from ChatGPT or GenAI technologies. The third C on which I would like to enhance is the, I'll say, content creation. If you are placed in a company which deals into media, which deals into the area where you have to summarize the content, you have to create the bullet pointers, or you think that you have to create the catchy jingles and everything, in all those areas, ChatGPT or GenAI is going to be a very helpful tool for you. And finally, which Ankit also mentioned, it's the cyber, you can say, cyber geek, where right now there are many websites from where I buy things, but the customer satisfaction is not that great because their customer experience is only valid till 9 a.m. to 6 a.m. for a post. If we can have the ChatGPT or GenAI enabled chatbot, we can have 24 hours of experience. So if you want the technology to be enabled by the robots, by the chatbots, so that you can increase the interaction for the whole set of 24 hours. So these were the 4 set of C's I would like to categorize. You can at the very first hand, you can think that, okay, if my business is dealing in these criteria, definitely GenAI is a thing for me. If it is something else, then obviously, once the market will unfold, we'll again analyze it, we'll again see it, how much of benefit we can take from that. So these were my thought process.
Excellent, excellent. Over to you, Dr. Yogesh.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to borrow one line from you. Of course, the views that I express here are my personal, not from the organization point of view. And also, from the personal note perspective, it's an honor to be here. Thank you, entire Symbiosis team, for inviting and making sure the panel is discussing and you are listening. Of course, there is immense potential in enabling our activities at the factories that we do. Of course, I'm from automotive innovation, so my bias is going to be towards automotive field. But 2 things that stand out for me after making sure those POCs run properly. One for supply chain management, and the second one was towards our proactive maintenance of the machinery, automotive machineries. From the supply chain side of it, we established some of the early risk trackers using Gen AI and adding them towards some collaborative platforms, and the newsmakers, the external party newsmakers, which helped us making sure our platform gives us early alerts of any signs from the market, adversity market, and we can divert the procurement process to other potential sources. And the sourcing can go seamlessly, production can happen seamlessly. Similar to that, from the proactive maintenance perspective, it's not just making sure our machine is up and running 24/7, because 24/7 is a cycle which need to be maintained anyhow. However, when to make it a rest, like our body requires a rest for 8 hours, machine also requires a resting time. But parallel to that, what other processes can be done, and as well as how the production enhancement strategies can be put in a place, are from our use cases of Gen AI. Thank you.
Well, very good insights. Sure, Dr. Yogesh gave a lot of insights from the manufacturing sector. Now over to Abhishek.
Thank you, thank you. And first of all, pleasure to be, in the company of great students. Always great to come back to campus. So I'll respond to that in sort of two ways. One is the vertical and the horizontal. So horizontal being the functions and the vertical being two industries. So I'll pick two of each in the interest of time. So two verticals, the first industry I'll pick is healthcare. That's where I've been working for decades. The first use case is that of drug discovery. Now we're seeing innovative use cases of Gen AI where you're trying to generate new molecules, new drugs in this case, which we have never even thought of. And that's where the generative AI is helping, trying to look at literature from a multitude of use cases and years past and trying to recommend new and novel therapies and molecules. So that's one use case. The second one is also that of clinical trials. So can you create a new protocol? So there's a concept called protocol in clinical trials. So can you generate a new protocol by just giving some information and let the chat GPT or generative AI engine, in this case, recommend what could be inclusion criteria, exclusion criteria, and so on and so forth. So those are two, again, just basic examples from healthcare. The other industry I would choose is that of perhaps teaching. In this case, I guess all of you can relate to. But two examples there. One is that of how do we become a better teacher, all the teachers as well. So Byju's has something they call it as teacher LLM. If you want, just Google it out, you would see. So they're creating a large language model for the subjects, any subject it could be. How do you become a better teacher so when students asking questions, they can get answers. Similarly for preparation for like a test prep, whether it's for exam, whether it's for any competitive exam, can you use generative AI that can ask questions from a huge repository? Answer is absolutely yes. So we're seeing multitude of these use cases getting created across. Two functions I'll pick. The first one is sales and marketing, where generative AI is being used in a very, very, very big way. Whether it's in terms of, let's say for marketing, what kind of content can you generate? Whether you're targeting your customers, or whether in terms of better lead generation and so on. Similarly for sales, how do you, train your sales rep? What do the sales reps say when they are interacting, with the customer in this case? That's a very big use case for Gen AI. And the other function probably I'll pick is that of in the software world, that of code generation. Now all of you must have heard the GitHub Copilot or the Code Whisperer from AWS. Similarly, Google, IBM, they all have their own engines. That's again a great example of how generative AI can help writing better code and also doing a lot of this code analysis. You have this concept of code reviews. Can a lot of that be done using generative AI where they can look at it and recommend suggestions and so on. So those are four, like a crisscross balance of industry, vertical, and functions. So those four I would like to highlight.
Awesome. Over to you, Shiva.
Thank you, Ram. Hi, team. Happy to be here. Okay, so a lot of information already they shared, and let me make it very crisp and clear. Remember always, people are always paid for their creativity, innovation, and the problem-solving skill. That only you have all this information, right? This whatever the generative AI and the tool, everything is augmenting you and helping you to do this better always. Don't go away from that, the core subject. So you are the realm of this. The creativity comes from you, the prompt what you are giving based on your thought process. Always remember this. So let me quickly just make a very quick analogy of in terms of maker, taker, and shaker. The makers are there, right? Who's created the GPTs of the world, and multiple people's, there are a lot of tools are available. They are the makers. Obviously, that it is very limited percentage. They are the core value creators, actually. So I don't want you as a student always a mere taker. When I say taker, it is only consuming stuff, right? I think Sandeep has talked about it. So you can consume it, but don't be always a consumer of this technology. At least if you are not a maker, later you can be a maker, be a shaker. When I say shaker, how we can able to add value to it, how we can able to push boundaries to the, whatever the output what we are getting. From there, can you able to create something value out to it? That's the value creation comes from you. Always remember, you have the power with you, you can do it. So the creativity and the problem solving actual thing lies with you and your thought process. Don't ever forget this. Always be in charge of that. Thank you.
Wonderful, Shiva. Very pertinent point for all of us, especially when we were students, we always look for quick wins, but I like the way he explained makers, takers. Now changing gears, now that we heard about the real-world use cases, would like to understand what are the actual challenges in implementation. So let me start with Sandeep.
So I'm going to borrow this analogy of the maker, shaker, and the taker, right? Let the technical problems be solved by the makers. Okay. Now, when I say technical problems, we all know privacy, whether the data is in my tenancy boundary or not, etc., etc. Don't worry about that. There will be, if you remember, if I take you a few years back, cloud had the same all arguments, right? I can't move to cloud. What about my data, etc. Same deja vu we are hearing for ChatGPT, generative AI. Don't worry about that. It'll be taken care. There are big companies who are going to solve this problem. You, being the shaker, worry about the biggest challenge, in my opinion, with ChatGPT or any of the generative AI is about understanding how you can utilize this technology to make an impact. We severely lack that. We need to understand that right now we are all sitting here together and there is this massive wave of technological transformation happening just outside these boundaries, right? Now, when this wave of technological transformation is happening, then what is this audience doing? And that's what I want to take that analogy of the shaker. The biggest challenge for me in generative AI is identifying the right shakers and the shakers actually being able to shake what can potentially be built using this tech. I'll take a very small example in the next 30 seconds. We know ChatGPT can create summarization, brilliant. We know GitHub Copilot can create code, brilliant. Do we sit on it? No. Can I marry these two? I'll take a cybersecurity example for use case, right? There is an attack that happens on your web server. That attack can be summarized by a ChatGPT type engine. That summarization can be taken as a prompt to write code using GitHub Copilot, and that GitHub Copilot code can be run and then eliminate that cybersecurity risk. Again, not a story. Go check on cybersecurity Copilot, and this has already happened. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is the challenge. We have the technology in front of us. How are you going to make it useful for the masses is the biggest problem. You will hear all about privacy, data not being there, etc. Don't worry about it. It will be taken care of.
Over to you.
Sure, Ram. So I would like to borrow the same analogy because he has set the context, and I'll give you quick insights on the maker side. So that's right, that some of the company is going to solve that problem which is required to make these applications relevant in the real market, but someone has to take that spot. So now, in case of the challenges, first I have to see whether the application which I'm trying to build, do I have the enough raw material for that? When it comes to the raw material, it means first, is my use case right? Like the use case which I'm trying to solve, is it I'm doing just because I want to hit and try Gen AI, or is it the actual hour of the need and this use case is going to help the user? So think about that. The second is, whatever the use case you have decided, agree that it is going to help the consumer. Do you have the relevant data for that? When it comes to relevant data, I don't care if the amount of data is available into the whole organization. What I care about is whether that data has been governed or not, whether that data is clean enough and ready enough to be used. If the data is randomly lying in silos, there are n number of data systems, but they don't marry each other, that data is going to create the skewness, and it is going to create the biasness. For example, I'll take an application example for you. Suppose you were dealing with the recruitment, and you create an application which deals in recruitment. Now, the past trend says, because the male population was more into the college, so obviously the males were more in number when the recruitment happened. But is this the trend which I want to be propagated into the future? The answer is no. So I cannot simply go and build a Gen AI application saying that take the data, marry the data, run the algorithm, and give me the output. There has to be a particular governance in to see how the outcome looks like, how the output looks like. So these were the challenges according to me, along with cyber security and everything. I have enough experienced people to speak about that, but my main personal 2 cents is on the data part. Before building the application, just see whether the application is relevant or not, or do you have the relevant data for that or not.
Great. Ankit, you would want to wrap this question? In interest of time, we may have to speed up.
Yeah.
Quickly, 45 seconds.
So basically, my main concern is the security. Even I have slightly disagreement about this data privacy and all, because we are saying we will take care, but who will give the guarantee of that? So for me, always the concern is like I'm typing something on ChatGPT or any generative AI tool. Who will give the guarantee like what I'm typing it will not be exposed to tomorrow? We can say today we are safe, but if tomorrow it is a 0-day vulnerability came, then there will be a problem. So that concern will always be there, and not necessarily like the great company who are developing the AI thing, we have to buying that product only. Maybe we are going for those organizations who are very new and they did not train their data model properly. And they have very small data set for the training, and because of that, I'm not getting the right answers. So data is the foundation for generative AI or anything, and if our data is not proper, as I'm told, so that has to be taken care of properly, and then yes, data privacy and cybersecurity is the another concern.
Thanks, Ankit. Now let me change gears. We'll talk a pertinent topic. Everyone wants to know the specifics of the actual tools. So let me start with Dr. Yogesh on what are the popular Gen AI tools used in the industry. We are familiar with the popular ones like the Microsoft Copilot and Google Bard. Recently I read Deloitte has launched an in-house tool called Dartbot. That is primarily helping building some efficiency for the audit professionals. So they want to quickly look up something, get some insights or compliance-related advisory. This chatbot would actually help them. So like this, different organizations are building their own chatbot technology using the Gen AI. So quickly to Dr. Yogesh.
Sure, thank you. It's a great question, and I think it's mandatory for everyone at least to know those products, what they do, and how are they useful. Any ChatGPT or Gen AI product must be having one very, very common standard that is called easy to use API. In that, I think some of the big names like Microsoft is already there, IBM Watson product is also already there. Also, there are some small products like Fast AI or Fast AI that helps in our self-learning, making sure before we go to the organization, we kind of wash our hands in those tools and have that mud in our hand and some of them on our face also, so to get the test of it. Pardon my analogy, but that's how I work. Fold the sleeves, put the hand in on the vehicle, then only I understand what's there as a component. For Gen AI also, we have to do the same. Test it, run a POC, make sure you have data availability, and for any tool, it's a garbage in, garbage out. So make sure you have a cleaning processes before insertion of the data. Thank you. That's 45 seconds.
Thank you. Abhishek, please.
And so in terms of tool, I would suggest breaking it into sort of 3 layers. The first probably foundational, followed by some specialist tools that we see, and then some domain specific ones. So starting with the bottommost, starting with skills, very similar like we have seen in logical reasoning and so on. I would say basic of stats and advanced computing. Very, very important. Right? I mean, if you genuinely want to create a career in Gen AI and so on, especially if you're going to be in the maker bucket, it's very important for you to know that. And there are a lot of tools like, all the way from PySky to, PySpark to Python and so on. So there, again, those are generic skills, but traditionally in terms of handling big data, mathematics, and generic logic reasoning, very, very important. Again, the foundational layer. Followed by some of these generic tools, Copilot, DALI, again, ChatGPT, Bard, Gemini. Again, pick a flavor of the season. They're dime a dozen one. Just pick whichever one you want. Very similar to again, analogy would be computer language. Can you write in .NET? Yes. Can you write in Java? Yes. Can you do it in C++? Yes. So the point is pick any of these flavors depending on your use case and so on. And the third layer, which is very, very important, which is domain-specific LLM. I think that's where the buck is moving. That's where the future is. As you start getting into this bucket of, okay, what I'm trying to create it for. Is it for a telecom domain? Is it for a legal domain? Is it for accounting domain? Is it for, let's say, the movie industry? And believe me, there's an LLM for each of those. You just go and put the industry name and LLM, you'll get it. Like for example, let's say for medical, there's Medical Arc as an example, which is a life sciences specific LLM that is being created. And the last thing I would add is the buck doesn't stop there. From a future standpoint, we are always looking at newer ways, and one trend that I do foresee is that of adoption of SLM, which is the small language model. Microsoft has already released Phi and so on. And the domain-specific languages continue to proliferate with adoption of this tiny AI, federated AI, and so on. I think that's where the buck is moving. So these three, and the final one probably is a little bit for a future standpoint.
Thanks, Abhishek. Now, what he just said about different industry sectors having their own use cases with different tools, it just reminds me, a few months back, Hollywood scriptwriters went on strike, stating that the directors should not use AI tools like ChatGPT to get scripts written. So it has to be written by a human writer, not by a tool like that. So that's pretty much pertinent.
Yeah. Thanks, Ram. I think adding to the point, I think we at Lenovo, AI strategies, AI for all. Means what does that mean? It has a public as well as private for the specifically for the enterprise, as well as individual, right? I think Abhishek talked about the domain specific. In fact, last week I written one article on the LinkedIn specifically on the domain specific one actually on this. So that is really picking the the speed, because what we are talking about the large tools like GPT-4 and Gemini and others, all it is a general purpose one, but obviously it has a massive amount of data on it now. Just go and ask it very specifically and generic, you get a better and very what you're looking for, you get it. But if you wanted to get in the career, or you want to get into something research area or specific to your study or the finance, you should go to the very domain-specific LLMs, which is already pre-trained models are available. You can able to use. I think the Hugging Face is one of the best tool currently available for the open source. You go there and explore it. It is not one, two. It is thousands of models are available actually. I think the power again with you. Go there and use it general purpose. When you need specific information, go to the very, very specifically trained for your domain where you can get the better and accurate results. Okay?
Thanks, Shiva. This also reminds me, not all the tools that you find in Play Store is genuine. There is fake GPT also. Maybe you should Google for getting more insights into that. So don't believe whatever you see as genuine. Now, changing gears quickly, I would want to go to this side of my panel. On some pointers I would want them to give on how to build expertise in using these Gen AI platforms. Over to you guys. It starts with Ankit.
So I'll just say start from the basics. I mean, don't think when you start like how I'll become expert in the Gen AI or Gen AI tools and all. So start from the basic, learn like how basically machine learning works, how artificial intelligence works, what is the data behind that, how your data, trained data modeling has to be happen, and different types of machine learning techniques and all. So once your basics are strong, then you can go for the advanced level and all. And you can, lot of workshops, lot of open source information is available. Like Shiva sir told, like a Hugging Face, it is one of the best open source environment is there. I mean, you can go and learn different models, but first your foundation has to be very strong. If foundation is weak, then probably won't be understand the artificial intelligence in the in the future. So that's what.
Thank you. Yeah, over to you, Sandeep.
See, AI, Gen AI, this is such a deep space that if we start learning together as a community, we'll spend years learning, right? So it's very difficult for us to say, I want to learn Gen AI. It won't happen. The right this is how I do. Whenever I'm learning in Microsoft, this is how I do. Let's say I pick up an industry. Let's say I pick up education as an industry. Within education, I will pick up a sub-industry. And I'm taking that leaf from you saying, think domain, right? Within education, I'm thinking a sub-industry. The sub-industry is online education. Within sub-industry, I'm looking at another sub-industry, let's say learning management systems. And now I'm thinking, how do I apply Gen AI in learning management system, right? Because now you have constrained your problem. Now you're thinking people first. Who is using learning management systems? Students. Who is contributing? Teachers or professors. And then I am a learning management system toolware. How do I start using Gen AI in education to create scenarios around learning management system? One last thing I will say, it's like all what I've told you is how you start thinking like an entrepreneur, right? How do you start building products? Some of my friends, when I was doing MBA, used to tell me that if I have to learn tech, I'll go to IIT, right? मैं MBA किया यार, I'll come to, I'll not do tech and all. That boundary has been disambiguated. So if you have to learn, you have to get your hands dirty. Our panelists just said it. You have to get your hands dirty, but start with a constrained learning. There are millions and millions of resources available for you to learn, but constrain your problem. Otherwise, you'll just spend months and months together not realizing you not achieve much.
And I'll just say that don't get panic and don't get carried away because things are changing very rapidly. And whenever there is any change in technology, this is the kind of behavior we have observed in past as well. So the two guidance which I'll give, one for the technical folks and one for the management folks. For the technical folks, big data was important, is important, and will be important, but at the same time, start getting your hands dirty into vector database because your model will be as good as your backend data will be. So start learning those particular expertise because right now I don't think it will be part of the curriculum. Then for the management folks, I'll say that previously it might be the case that you can build an AI application, advanced analytics application, and you can run in silos. But now when you'll be out of the college and you'll be doing the project management, there will be all different kind of teams which you have to manage. It will be technical team, it will be cyber security team, it will be legal team, it will be the team who is the right representative of the population for which you are building the user testing team. So start learning in a way how you can connect those particular teams together and what will be the pain point of each and every team. So think about that.
Thank you, Vinu. I can't miss any of them. I just thought I will ignore them because of interest of time, but they are equally good. So we'll take the next question. Don't worry.
See, what I see in lot of ad, right? You know, sometimes I feel why this kind of things come. They say if you're not learning this, you are going to lose the job. I'm sure you would have seen that, right? This is catching up. It's going to replace you. I think I wanted to give. I don't know. You all are going to be marketing guys, also all mixed kind of people here. So my point here it is, don't create or sell fear to the student community who wanted to learn something. I think we need to motivate and inspire to learn them, not by creating fear to sell something to do it. That's what's happening in the marketing world. I think, so you all are the young mind, you are coming up, think that on, right? Don't put it like, hey, if you're not buying this, you're going to lose it. So automatically you're creating something, fear of missing something, right? That kind of things. So always go ahead and say that how you can able to inspire to do better, motivate to do the better. I think that should be the approach. I think reminding the panelists already talked about remaining thing. I don't want to touch the point. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. I think at our age, if we can do it, you can definitely do it better. All right. So quickly, one question. I don't know whether we have time. I will request all the panelists to restrict to 30 seconds, or if you strongly feel you would want to answer, please speak up. It's primarily around responsible AI. We know AI has its own limitations in terms of the biases that the developers or coders bring in. Responsible AI and also on the security aspects of protecting data. Any thoughts? Starts with Ankit.
Yeah, just quickly I'll say within 30 seconds, like, yeah, basically the data should be diverse enough. So if our data is not diverse, so definitely we would not be able to provide the right results. So that is one thing, and yes, security is the biggest challenge yet, according to me. I mean, what we are typing, what we are providing input to a Gen AI or any chatbot, it should be secure enough. Tomorrow, if any data breach happened for that organizations, my data would also be leaked. So someone has to make sure, like, okay, fine, my data is safe, and what I'm doing with the Gen AI, it is safer. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Sandeep?
Maybe we'll skip the, yeah, let's just move on. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. Always
I know
ready.
security people are here.
Because this is
Yeah,
interesting subject as I'm being a security guy, plus I'm doing my PhD in LLM security. So I thought, so let me quickly do it actually. I think, so Ram, you talked about responsible AI. Good. I think we should everybody to, the follow it, right? It's a, even act is coming and some other countries already, they have already implemented actually. It is comes from the corporate area, obviously they'll follow, there's a rule and responsibility, regulations is all play a key role. I want to wear a different hat this time. If I am a hacker, not ethical hacker, so I'm just wearing the different kind of it. What are the regulation you put, like responsible, be responsible? What do you think? These persons' intentions are very different, right? They will train what they wanted to train. When you put the clearly, like, don't train the data with this 1, 2, 3, you have to train only this. But there are already hacker GPT, right? There are, you just Google it, you'll come to know that. That is where us, a responsible person on security side, we go ahead and see that what kind of data available on it. But you see, you really shocked to know that there are already, high level of different kind of hacking tools with completely enabled is available. So we as a, responsible society, we need to take care of that, how we can able to detect those stuff when it comes to the corporate environment, can able to eliminate, or how we can able to overshadow them to, stop those kind of hacking. I don't know how easy it is, but always technology when it comes new, that other side of the adversarial networks always take the upper hands, right? So while responsibility is too good, corporate is following it, but we also be also mindful about what's happening other side of it.
Thank you, Shiva.
Yeah, on responsive AI, I mean, again, I'll probably create two buckets. One, something again at a very tech level, again, people who are close to Gen AI, I'm sure would relate, and then some in general. So the one which are very specific to Gen AI, things like bias explainability are very, very important. So how do you think about explainability? Because, it's just generating all these, text or visual or audio and all. So you've got to figure out, what's the basis, can it be explained, can it be retraced, and so on. It's very, very important. The second concept is like hallucination. Again, it's very common, very, very common in Gen Tech, and it's very important aspect of responsible AI because the system starts thinking they're all very smart. Now, again, as students, we all have been there, where we start thinking we're better than the teacher, and that happens to the AI as well. So the concept is called hallucination. Then there are concepts like drift monitoring and so on. So there are concepts like A/B testing. So again, you've got to just be aware. Unless you're trying to be a core practitioner, I don't think you need to worry about some of these. I'm sure somebody will be there to help. But just being aware from a responsible AI, these things are very, very important. Other aspects include sustainability. Just think about the sheer amount of energy that is required to, run some of these models. Similarly, getting into the explanatory bias, the trust aspects, the list just goes on, but trying to think of it as the tech and the rest probably is my suggestion.
I'll use last 25 seconds. See, in 1992, my school got an internet, dial-up VSNL. So we used it for a day. Next day, there was a board on our school board that internet is far more useful than looking at Pamela Anderson. So it's the same thing here. Gen AI or chat GPTs are far more better than what we think. So use those time stamps and make sure that you use it in a positive tone. Thanks.
So, thank you, Dr. Yogesh. I'm not sure how many of you would recognize the name Pamela Anderson, but the person, she was a model from our generation. So, Thank you very much for this stellar panel for sharing very good expertise. It was hard for me as a moderator to pick and choose anyone. I thought one question I will ask this side and I'll go alternate between them. But I just saw the enthusiasm and the expertise they have, and I cannot pick and choose anyone. It was pretty hard for me. And closing, I would want to say that as students, it's always very, very enticing to do shortcuts. But please don't depend on any of the Gen AI tools to do the job for you. Don't trust the output that comes from Gen AI queries as Bible. You'll have to do your own due diligence. Please keep that in mind. Don't trust whatever comes out. End of the day, it is us humans should have an upper hand. And it's very important that we retain our creativity skills, strong thinking skills, and don't trade in for convenience, right? Like some tool like Gen AI. With that, I would want to conclude this session. Thank you for being a patient audience. Have a good day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this moment to thank our esteemed panelists for such an insightful discussion. I'm sure the students have learned a lot today. And being an MBA student, sir, I personally resonated with something that you said, the idea that students should start looking at ChatGPT as owners and not consumers in order to make transformation. That was a wonderful thing to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, moving forward,
Let's take a moment to express our sincere gratitude to our esteemed panelists, the architects of wisdom and knowledge who have graciously shared their insights today. Your expertise has illuminated our minds, and your presence has added immense value to this gathering. We extend our heartfelt thanks for contributing to the intellectual richness of this event. Let's give a resounding round of applause to our distinguished panelists. Now, I would request the seminar committee to kindly step forward and felicitate our esteemed panelists.
thank you so much, sir, ma'am. You can please sit on your respective seats. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting with the next keynote session in next 2 to 3 minutes. Kindly be patient because we have to set up the stage. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we stand at the intersection of technology and privacy, navigating a landscape shaped by rapid advancement and digital innovations, the importance of comprehensive data protection has never been more critical. Understanding the intricacies of the data protection and data privacy, that is DPDP Act 2023, which is a cornerstone in the ongoing conversation about safeguarding personal information and upholding the rights of individuals in an era defined by digital interconnectedness, becomes extremely important. Ladies and gentlemen, with these ideas in mind, it's now time to get started with the next keynote session of the day, Decoding the DPDP Act 2023, Empowering Individuals in Digital Age.
It is indeed an honor for us to introduce a distinguished technocrat, Ms. Shelja Vadlamuri. May I request ma'am to kindly join us on stage? Ma'am is a Vice President Security and Data Privacy and Global App Security Lead at SAP Labs India. She is a seasoned security leader with over 20 years of diverse experience. Ma'am has formulated and led the execution of strategic enterprise-wide transformations and improved security posture with a higher return on investment. Ma'am is also a notable keynote speaker and panelist in national and international forums. Among her many diverse initiatives, Ma'am is a founder of SWIC, that is SAP Women in Cybersecurity, and WICSP, that is Women in Cybersecurity and Privacy, aiming to raise cyber awareness for kids, young girls, and women. Ma'am is deeply committed to fostering diversity and cyber awareness. She is also a distinguished tech leader recognized in the top 10 women tech leaders and top 20 Indian women security influencers, with a global advisory role mentoring dedication and advocacy for women and children's digital safety. Welcome to Communique'24, ma'am. May I now request Ms. Shelja Vadlamuri to kindly deliver the keynote.
Thank you for such a wonderful introduction, and first of all, thank you for having me. And my previous colleagues were telling me this, you have been a wonderful audience. You have to tell me the truth. How many of you have fallen asleep? Yeah, no one? No one is bold enough to raise their hands and say, I have fallen asleep. One of the girl raised her hand. Fine. Now let me tell you the thumb rule for my session. If it's asleep, and for a change, I am not using any slide deck. I know slide deck will put everyone to sleep in such a beautiful auditorium, yeah? So I'm going to talk. If I find anyone sleeping, then I'll be asking a question. If you answer the question, I will give you a nice swag or a goodie after you wake up from your sleep. So even if you're going to your sleep, just give your ear to me, yeah? So having said that, let me just get into today's topic. As I said, there is no slide deck, and I think now in the previous session you learned everything is possible, everything is available. And these LLMs and technology, like we were talking about metaverse till last year, and suddenly ChatGPT, AI, ML, large language models, and so on and so forth, right? But I want to tell you something. The more and more you start using these technologies, right, for your betterment, that is good. But how many of you remember 10 phone numbers in the room? How many of you remember 10 phone numbers? Okay, very few. Very few. Yeah. So at least in my team, I tell all my early talents, don't use LLMs for everything so that it is making you dumb day by day, and it is overpowering you. So the chance is in your hands, or the ownership is in your hands, whether you want to be the boss or the other way around. Yeah, now coming into my today's topic, the wonderful Data Privacy Act, which has come in India. How many of you already know what privacy law is? Any one of you heard it? Or you must be wondering, we all are MBA students or graduates, what I have to do with privacy and so on and so forth, yeah? I started working in privacy when I'm just looking into my decks, I think from 2012. Some of you must be thinking I'm in school, or what am I doing then, right? So let me tell you, the reason why we all have to understand what privacy and what privacy laws are, I'm not going to put you to sleep. I'm not going to explain you the legal terms and the terminologies here. But as students, how much of it is what is relevant for us? And as the digital citizens, how is it helping us? How is it supporting us? And why we need such a framework? And what is in it for me in the end? So now privacy law is there, LLM is around. So what is it giving to me? I think the huge, biggest part of it is for all of you in the room. Whenever such things pop up, these things are little niche, and then there is not so much of expertise around. If you are the one to grab that opportunity, you will be having a very bright, very futuristic job opportunities in these domains. Because privacy, when it came in, I was invited to Delhi. ASSOCHAM had a roundtable before pandemic, and all the industrialists were asked to come and give their inputs. And there were a lot of government officials in the room, and they started asking, they were really panicked. Yeah, they all were asking, so what is going to happen with our companies? Now I have my employee data, now I have so much of personal data that is available in the system and so on and so forth. And then we started discussing and arguing, debating and so on and so forth. Now we have the final norm. So why we are talking about privacy, right? I think we have more than 197 countries, more than 137 countries. I'm not talking about technologies and states, I'm talking about the countries of the world, have privacy law in place. And privacy has not been part of the academic so far anywhere as far as I know, apart from the non-profit organizations that they're extensively working on this domain. And the other side of it is the world is also running short of privacy professionals. And you must be thinking, why we need one other law? We have so many laws around it. All of us agree after the pandemic, our primary space is what? It's the digital space, right? We no more, even if 4 people are on the table, I think recently I saw a joke or something. They said there's a place where if everyone is giving phones to the guys, they're going to give a 10% discount. Which means they're also encouraging us to have more and more human connections and human networking face to face, not on using digital media as a platform, right? So as the entire world has gone into this digital space as a primary medium, all the countries are also looking around how to protect the data. Personal data is nothing about an attribute of a person. It can be a name, your phone number, your identity, your card details, your house address, your PAN card, your Aadhaar card, your health details. It can be anything. And then depending on the country to the country, they have further categorized the data. And the father of all the laws is European Union, GDPR, General Privacy Regulation is what we call it. And I'm also fortunate enough to work on it because since I work with SAP and we have huge presence in Europe, so we were the first early adapters of those laws when they came into it. And let me tell you, then you can say now I am an MBA student or an undergraduate, like what should I be doing in this privacy space? Even when they threw some of the laws on our face, right? Any law students here? No one, right? Anyone can understand and read the legal document? None, even me. That's the reason we pay huge fees to the lawyers, right? Even for a small vehicle registration or a house registration. So when they came up with these privacy laws, it is totally English, which we can't digest and understand. It is in such a format. So what the company started doing is they have hired so many legal guys to look into this. And then the legal guys have to work with the functional guys who can understand business and convert it into a functional language. Because if they come and tell me, Shailaja, this is a law, now you have to convert this into your technology and ensure all the products that you're working under you have to fulfill this. It's not going to happen overnight. So there was a law, and then they converted that into a functional requirement. Then we started working on the technical requirements of it to fulfill the law. So you can say, what happens if I don't fulfill the law? The lawmakers are not so, what should I say? They're very smart. They said, if you don't fulfill the law, for example, if we are a company in India, and then if we are storing any of the data of people residing in European Union, and if it is not taken care properly, they will end up paying 20 million euro penalty to the government. Yeah, and if you look into the fines, right, I think all of us know Meta, right? I don't have to tell you what Meta is. These guys stand in the first line, first row, where they paid some few billion euros penalty already. there are so many people who paid the penalties and all of that. I'll tell you those stories towards the end of my talk. But let me tell you what privacy law is about. So when the European Union came up, they said, everyone, whenever, if anybody is collecting any data about me, let me just take an example. Like, I have created my account in Amazon, Amazon.com, and then Amazon.com, and then my details are there. Maybe I have given my birthday date, my anniversary date, and so on and so forth. And when I'm giving my data into Amazon, it has to say, nowadays it is very explicit, right? You cannot save your data and get your email ID or anything without accepting terms and conditions. Have you noticed it? It is because of the privacy laws. And even if you go to any of the websites, it says cookies mechanism, right? You have to give your consent and also pick what all preferences you choose. And I think YouTube had paid huge penalties because their cookie consent is not so clear in Ireland. Just go and check on the numbers on internet. There's a huge penalty paid by YouTube in Ireland because it's in European Union. And when I save this data, then I think we all know these platforms, right? Amazon has so many vendors. Do you think each and every vendor can access my data? All of you have to look at me, otherwise the mic will be passed to you, yeah? Do you think each and every vendor on Amazon can access my data? No, right? So the law also talks about it. The purpose for which I have created my data, maybe Amazon vendors can access my data whenever I do some purchase, and they have to do some shipment to my house or whichever address is being given in those order details. Exactly right. So here we are talking about, first of all, they have to give the consent. Terms and conditions have to be accepted. Now just imagine, Amazon has started their branch in China or Korea or somewhere. And they saw like, I shifted my base to China, for example, yeah? I don't want to, yeah? And then now this Amazon goes into the database and sees, oh, she is a very good customer and now her base is also moved to China. Does it mean Amazon can use my data for their advertisement purpose, have a huge banner and say, hey, she's my customer, one of the happiest customer, she's been doing a lot of shopping and so on and so forth? I don't think so. The reason why I created my account in Amazon is to do some shopping. If they have to do that, they have to take my permission. They have to take it, because the purpose why I created my data is for something different. They cannot repurpose my data and they cannot use it. And now I decided, okay, I just want to delete my account in Amazon. Yeah, and now I deleted my account. And again, on my birthday, they sent me an email. Hey, look, your birthday is around and we have this 10% discount and 20% discount. They cannot do it. If they do it, I can sue them literally, because I have already deleted my data. And when I delete my data, they cannot really use my data anymore. So the privacy laws of the world are all talking about this. First of all, whenever you're collecting the data, you have to take consent, means permission to pick the data. Whatever purpose the data is being picked, you also have to ensure this data is only being used for search purposes. Whenever the data is deleted, you cannot use the data anymore. And in this process, each and every country started looking into it differently. For example, in Europe, they say if anything related to European Union citizen is stored, it has to be stored only in the European region. You cannot store it in any data center in India. Yeah? And then so on and so forth. So my job's become very interesting, because after we started working in the European Union law, day in and day out, I keep getting a lot of emails. China has come up with a law. Saudi Arabia has come up with a law. So now we as a product company, we also have to revisit and look how much delta is left for all of us to look into and all of that. And European Union has taken a step forward. And they said, if you wanted to really ask someone to give, for example, you as a student, right? We are not in European Union, big disclaimer, yeah? You can always go to your management and ask them what kind of my data is being stored inside the organization. Maybe your mark sheets, your payment details and all of that. If you're an employee, then you will also have your insurance details, your income tax details, and so on and so forth, right? So they say it has to be in a portable format, a machine-readable format. whenever you are generating the report. But this particular thing is not addressed in the Indian Privacy Bill. And even European Union further went ahead. They say that is one of the stringest privacy law, whichever is available on the planet so far. And they said they have also further categorized the data. They said people will have religious beliefs, political opinions, and they have their sexual preferences and so on and so forth. All this is considered as a different sensitive personal category of the data. And they said if you have any such specific category in the system pertaining to a person, then you have to take some special mechanisms and controls. So what it is, let me quote an example. Say for example, there are two employees working in the same company, residing in the same place. But then suddenly this guy observed this guy started buying a bench car and booked a new villa and so on and so forth. He just got so curious, how much is he earning? Because they both joined the company in the same time. And it so happens one of his friend works in the same bank where the salaries are being deposited. So he asks his friend to find out how much salary this guy is earning really. And when he went and checks, and then he comes and tells everybody how much is he earning. Generally that is in confidential information inside the organizations. We are not supposed to reveal the packages to our colleagues and so on and so forth. So when this happened, this guy got so curious. And on the top of it, since this guy is so mad, jealous is not a word, he started printing his salary details and giving it off to everyone in the apartment building they are living in. And he went and raised in complaint to the bank. Immediately, first thing what they look into is all the CCTV cameras around. Everything looks fine. No one has broken into the bank and everything really looks fine. And then they were not able to really trace what has went wrong. So from the European Union, when I'm talking about, you have to categorize special data. So what kind of mechanism we have to do? I think most of you know, right? Whenever you go and change anything, then there is a log which says changed by. But here in this context, even if anybody goes and reads the data, you don't have to change, you just go and view the data, then it has to generate a log, special log, because the category of data is specially different. Just imagine in this case, if there is such mechanism for that salary details, like this guy has just went and read his salary details, right? So which is not even visible on all the CCTV cameras, which is supposed to be the case. And if this mechanism is available, then they should have identified him. Yeah, example apart. So these are the kind of the things that they're talking about. And also the Facebook has paid huge penalties because they started storing the data of the US citizens outside European Union and they started storing it in US and all that. And now, just today morning I read, there's one of the Chinese quick video app. Yeah, it has also paid huge penalties because they said their data of the children, right? Because they also consider children's data is also very sensitive and very confidential. Children below 13 and 16, depending on the country and the region, the law says it also has to be protected. You cannot publicly expose the confidential data pertaining to a child. Yeah? So they also paid the huge penalty because the data is being exposed, and then finally they have come into mechanism and they put the technology around it. So this is what the data privacy laws of the world are talking about. And then depending on country to country, they say here, in European Union, they say it's a data controller, the person who is in charge of collecting the data and processing the data on behalf of somebody. And in the Indian context, we are talking it as data fiduciary. So the terms and the terminologies are changing, but in the end, what everybody is marching towards, because all of us store our data consciously or unconsciously, right? I had a nice video I used to showcase when I'm doing this huge privacy trainings for my teams across the world. There's this Google, yeah? This Google is tracing a person to the entirety, like what he or she prefers to eat, he or she prefers to wear, their size, their food preferences, their medicine preferences, because it is collecting all the data. And they say, generally in India, we still have the concept of parents looking for girls and boys, right? Whenever you look for a marriage proposals, nowadays you don't need in detectives or something, you just go and ask Google and it tells about the person he or she, what he or she is up to, right? And some of the scholars in the early ages, right, they also say, first of all, we see so many things, like celebrities being spammed, celebrities being bullied, and so on and so forth, right? First of all, if you don't want someone to know about you, you shouldn't be putting it in the social media in the first place. You agree with me or not? Yes? And then we also have to play this responsible citizen role. Because India says you have to pay up to 200 crores of fine and penalties and so on and so forth. At the same time, they say, yes, no one is a saint, even in the technology firm, irrespective of the amount of funds they can spend on enabling these laws. From time to time, shit happens, right? That's what we say. And then whenever it happens, we have to also inform the authorities within 72 hours from the time we get to know there is a data breach. And the previous panel, you were all talking about the large language models and all of that, right? And using AI and all of it, what people are also doing is they are using huge social media bombs, and they're trying to extract all the publicly available data. And you must be thinking, why everybody is worried about data, why everybody is running around data, and so on and so forth. I think now, we all believe India is the superpower, right? Can someone tell me the reason why we are considering us to be a superpower? One reason? Guys, people told me Symbiosis students are very interactive. Someone tell me? Sorry? Okay, and? Exactly. We are the youngest nation with all the young talents, yeah? And when we say we are the youngest nation with a lot of young talent and so on and so forth, it also comes with a huge responsibility, right? People cannot exploit us, but we are generating huge volumes of data. How many of you have heard Tim Cook coming into Mumbai and opening a huge store of Apple, which exactly looks like the one in US? And then it popped up their sale. So everybody has to have us as part of the business if they want to succeed. We have become that deciding factor for every business on this planet. Yeah? And when everybody is generating huge volumes of data, it's not the revenues companies are boasting about, it's the data, which is the gold mine for every company. With AI and all of these technologies, the huge volumes of data you can feed into all these machines, the more accurate the outcome of these AI models is going to be, right? So when you want to use this technology, one of the gold mine is this data. And everybody is using data left and right. And in India, yes, we don't have privacy law. Now it is in place. We are also looking forward. Every time we get so many marketing calls, right? So much. And then there were also a lot of research happening around. Last week, I happened to be on a panel with the professors from IISc and IIT. And after panel, one of the professors was telling me, Shailaja, I think in future, in India, everyone's data will be shared with everybody. I said, I can debate with you for 2 days on this. Having worked day and nights for, and then some of them also said, yes, privacy laws are important, but this is all for first world countries, not for a country like us. I agree and disagree to that. Now, my point of argument would be, yes, you take my data with a proper consent, but you incentivize me. Whenever you are using my data, you share the model of incentive, then people would be happy. Sometimes people say, I don't care about my data and so on and so forth, right? I think let me tell you one story that happened in Bangalore much before the explosion of the digital space. There's a couple living in one of the finest localities of Bangalore, and this lady of the house is more on Facebook than anything else. She posts, even if she walks her dog, that's there on Facebook. So they go out for vacation for 2 weeks to Goa. They come home, the house is entirely empty. There's nothing left in the house, only the walls and the cupboards. And when she went and complained, the police investigated. There's someone who is closely following her, monitoring her. Nowadays, we also tag locations, right? Yes? And then first he went, it seems. He emptied the kitchen, all the stuff in the refrigerator, because he knows all perishable stuff. So he took the luxury of emptying the house because he knows they're not going to be back in 2 weeks. Now you see, like, home tours are so famous. All the celebrities are doing their home tours. Yeah? I know I'm privacy obsessed because I've been working on this for more than 10 years now. But what I'm trying to tell each of you is you have to take your own responsibility. Yes, the countries can stand up and say there are penalties for the companies if they are misusing your data and so on and so forth. But how many of us read the consent? When you say I accept terms and conditions, we don't even bother to look into, right? And it is also so lengthy, again, like a legal document. Yeah, and at the same time, the startup ecosystem and everybody at some point were shaken in India and also around the world, because they will have limited funds and they will also have to hire this data privacy officers, privacy consultants, data analysts, and so on and so forth. So that's the part I am coming into. Whenever security and privacy are here to stay, as long as the planet exists. AI will come, AI will go, LLMs will come, metaverse will come, everything will come. As long as there is a human existence, security and privacy are here to stay. Yeah? So I'm not telling each and every one of you to become the security expert or the privacy expert. Have an understanding of the domain, what is it about. And most of the times whenever I go and talk to the students, they always ask me, ma'am, I don't know about hacking, especially girls, you know, they say, can I still get into cybersecurity? Can I still come into information security? Hacking is 1% of the entire information security aspect of it. We have so many domains, we have compliance, we have audits, which doesn't need your exclusive coding skills or whatever, but then it is all process oriented. Yeah? Nowadays inside my company, there are also so many, especially women and men, who are working in quality domains and program management. They're also slowly shifting into so many other domains of cybersecurity and information security and privacy. Because that is also the need of the hour. You don't need to be the expert in the domain, but normally when people come to me, right, when I have to take an early talent interview, and I also need to fill that position in my team, I don't expect rocket science from them about security and privacy. We'll just only see if they can explain me one use case with their understanding, and then explain me how they can look into it, and how they can come to a solution towards it, and they're open to learn. Nowadays, with all this e-learning, I think learning has become accessible to each of us in the room, right? There's so many number of platforms that are available there. It doesn't have to be part of your academics or day-to-day job, but you can still pick it up as your choice, and privacy is one such interesting field. Initially, I was like, oh my God, why did they bring this? Because I have to work for long hours. Sometimes it used to hit up to 16 to 18 hours a day in the initial days, because I have locations in China, US, Canada, from different parts of the world, different continents I have to support. But then in the end, it gives you such a fulfilling experience, because I am the early adopters and the early experts in this domain. And I learned it. I used to learn and unlearn it on a daily basis. And as our previous panelists mentioned, right, if we can learn at this point of our career, I think you don't have many other things to think, right? You must be using your time to putting your efforts and all of this. And let me just get into your examples around. All of us know Marriott hotels? Yes, right? Marriott hotels once paid huge fines because there is a violation of privacy. All the customers' data is being leaked. The reason being, Marriott bought in hotel chain, and they had an issue earlier. They had a security issue earlier. And trust me, whenever any of the companies get compromised, these guys, the hackers, will come and check the way. Whether the door is closed, it is still open. And when they integrated this specific business into Marriott, these guys again visited, it was open. They exploited the entire data of it. Just see the mind behind it. Yeah, and there was also an H&M as a company. They were also levied huge penalties because the authorities learned it was storing so much of information about an employee, about the leave plans, where are they heading to, about the health details, the test details, and they're literally getting into too much of personal information of an employee, which is not supposed to be done as per the authorities. And then they also paid huge penalties. Yeah, and then I was also, and this Amazon example I was telling you, right? I think in Ireland or one of the European regions, Amazon was also levied huge penalties because they said it is also processing the data. And WhatsApp paid penalty because the authorities said we don't know how WhatsApp is processing the data. It's not about any data leakage here. Just understand the context. in all the cases, it's not necessarily the data leakage. Data is not leaked. When the authorities observe they're not fulfilling the data privacy rights, which was listed down by them, when they feel there is any inambiguities, then they are fined. So they're not sparing even the big guys of the world. The reason why I'm also quoting these big companies and this is only for your educational purpose, not to put them down, because every company has their own set of gaps and all of that. But for all of us to learn from those mistakes and to move on. Yeah? So when these big companies of the world are facing all these challenges, and the biggest challenge for all of us in the current field is identifying or picking up people who knows this expertise. As I said, this is not part of your curriculum. At least now cybersecurity is part of one of the streams where you can pick and do it for a semester as an elective, right? But privacy has not still gone into the textbook mode. But you all can still learn, and you can all still make your careers. If somebody is interested, and the beauty of it is, it has technology side, it has legal side, it has process side, it has every aspects into it. Security and privacy are such domains, you have all the functionalities embedded into it. We need program managers for privacy, we need data analysts for privacy, we need techies for privacy. We need all set of roles to manage privacies for these companies. Now that in India it has come up, all the companies will be running around to identify the privacy experts. And the special case I mentioned, for some of the startups, investing into all this would not be a biggest one. So they will also sometimes, time to time, count on someone whom they can rely on. And how many of you have already done technical papers? Or any IEEE publications or something? 1, 2. Okay, because that is the next thing normally I see in the interview. Now I know that is not part of your curriculum. Okay, have you done some research? Have you picked up this topic? That is also one other extra mileage pointer that is going to give you when you come and appear in front of the companies for your jobs. Yeah, just try to do something at GitHub if you're a tech savvy. If not, just try to pick up a topic, and you don't have to do rocket science, right? Sometimes when you do the topic, you can also pick up some different publications that are available. You can also do the comparison metrics among all of them. Now I said China has a law, India has a law, Europe has a law, Singapore has a law, and then Australia has their own privacy law. So every country has a law, right? Because in the end, what I'm trying to tell you is, yes, you are with the best institute, you have a lot of campus placements and all of that, but I also want you to encourage, pick something which is also timeless. All of you know what is timeless, right? Which stays forever with us, which is here to stay, not to just disappear and go off. Yeah? Any questions in the room? Any questions on privacy as a topic? Anything, I'm open for anything. Any questions? You guys are too shy or too tired from morning? Too much of info on one day, right, to absorb? Anyone have any questions? Yes? I think we have a question there, yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon.
So sometime back we had this article on related to Meta, wherein they were launching their project called Libra, which was digital currency. But then the initial release was cancelled because it didn't clear the privacy concerns. So, and then again there was an article on a software company called Decentraland that was again operating in a virtual world space where users can operate in a metaverse sort of thing.
Yeah.
That also got cancelled because there was some issues related to humiliation and discrimination.
Yeah.
So I have a twofold question.
Yeah, sure.
First, what are your take on these articles when you go about it? And second, what do you think, how far are we in terms of coping up with the advancements in the technology and
You, in the sense, we as an India standpoint of view, you mean to say?
global,
Okay.
yeah. So how far are we in terms of coping up with the technology and the security standards that comes along with it?
Yeah, thank you for this twofold of wonderful question. Now you all have understood, right? Even a company like Meta with all its money, with all its resources, was stopped to launch something which they planned for. So which is taking the priority here? Privacy and security laws around the world, right? Yes, I think now whatever is existing, if they identify a gap, they have to pay the penalties, and if you have to launch something, you have to fulfill it. So if any one of you in the room, tomorrow you end up into a startup or something, you first have at least one consultant to help you with all of this so that no one stops you towards the end telling, hey, you cannot do this because you're not fulfilling this, right? You're dealing with a lot of personal or sensitive information and so on and so forth. When it is coming to the standards, right? Nowadays, the customers are also really cautious about it. Now there are a lot of things happening day in and day out. I think how many of you have heard about the story of when Zomato's data is available on the dark web, when the dollar value discussions are going on for acquisition, and suddenly, normally during the acquisitions, whenever there is this privacy or security breaches, the dollar value goes down drastically. Yeah, and now everyone is also aware privacy and security are important. If I have to go and talk to any customer, earlier they used to look into the functionalities and features, okay, what is this application about, how can I use it in my business, and so on and so forth. Now they also bring their technical team, functional team, and then a security team. They will ask us, can you walk us through the security standards you have followed? Can you show me your audit reports? So on and so forth, if this is related to this particular industry, and so on and so forth. So you cannot let go security and privacy as part of your process. Even if you want to win a deal and win that bread and butter for your business, it has become mandatory. Because normally we say trust is that currency we have to put on the table from security and privacy standpoint to win your business and to have your successful quarter by quarter revenues flowing inside the company and the organizations. Yeah, and having said this, I just want to have some closing remarks, especially for all the girls in the room. Be very careful about your data. Because I have worked with a huge project with the Telangana government. We have sensitized the school children in the entire state. And one day we did a retrospective. We have all the officers from all the districts of Telangana. And then we learned there are so many interesting cases over there. It really, because that legal side of the world is so different from our side, right? And there was a girl who is doing her medical studies, and she has a boyfriend when she was in school, 9th or 10th grade. And this guy started blackmailing her with the pictures, with the conversation they had, because this guy is not even finished his school. Now that he knows she's doing so well and going ahead in future and so on and so forth, he started weaponizing that context and information against her. So, and at the same time, if such things happens, don't take any harsh decisions. Because we have frameworks, we have strict norms available all around the world, and we have a lot of NGOs that are available. First of all, go tell your parents, life is more precious than all of this. Things can go wrong, but you don't have to be taking a lot of harsh decisions. It can be for girls or boys as well in this case. Because life is more precious than anything else, and that's the best thing we all can celebrate about it every day in and day out. And you all know how much of an effort it took for all of you to get here in life, right? And there's much more life, and when the entire world is looking towards India to be the saver in this digital transformation, please stand up. And then even if something goes wrong, there are always remedies to it. Yeah, and then there is a small girl in a school, and she's the topper, she's winning all the competitions and so on and so forth. One day she went into the toilet and she cut her nerve, and she's found unconscious. And when parents got to know, her own best friend in the school created a profile on her name on Instagram and started publishing all stuff where she cannot accept it anymore. Things are happening because this is the digital space. Sometimes we don't have to do anything, someone else is doing on our behalf. On all of these platforms, I'm not sure, there is a category where you can also put in complaint to the platform itself. You don't have to reach out to anyone else. Someone has created your fake account or whatever it is, they immediately respond. There is a huge team dedicated working for all these social media platforms. On the top of it, you have this legal authorities, your police department, your college, your parents, and so on and so forth. So the world has become so nasty from one side of it, looking into these digital platforms and so on and so forth. People are also misutilizing it to a larger extent, but stand strong because these are really tricky and challenging times. And I wish you all the very best.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your valuable insights, which not only illuminated the intricacies of DPDP Act, but also provided our audience with a comprehensive understanding of its implications and the empowerment it offers in the ever-evolving digital landscape.
Now, I would request the seminar committee to step forward and felicitate our esteemed speaker.
Can we have a huge round of applause for ma'am, please? Thank you, ma'am. May I kindly request students from Mohol College to gradually exit the auditorium. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. SIDTM students are requested to be patient and keep sitting in their respective places.
Bottle. Telecom vendors, the backbone of our connected world, serve as the driving force behind the networks and technologies that keep us interconnected. Their contributions span the deployment of infrastructure, development of cutting-edge technologies, and the continuous improvement of services that shape our digital experiences. As Rajiv Sharma, CEO BharatNet, said, we're not just building routers, we're building the bridge to a digitally empowered India. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the last keynote session of the day on indigenous telecom vendors navigating industry dynamics. And for that, I would like to call upon the stage Mr. Nipun Sahani.
Can we have a huge round of applause for so? Mr. Nipun Sahani, a telecom and semiconductor veteran with 25 plus years of experience, played a crucial role in Tejas Networks' evolution from startup to Tata Group integration. His noteworthy achievements including creating a global OEM channel spanning 50 plus countries, yielding $150 million in revenue. As a distinguished alumni of MSRIT Bangalore, he blends technical and commercial acumen, making him a thought leader. In his current position, Nipun leads global business development, focusing on expanding Tejas network base in Europe and other regions globally, and fostering synergies with Tata Group companies. He is passionate about the Indian growth story and about the role that technology can play in nation building. Welcome to Communique'24, sir. I request Mr. Nipun Sahani to kindly deliver the keynote. The stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening, SIDTM. Very good evening to all of you. My first time here in SIDTM, and while I was sitting in the audience talking to some of the people, you know, the feel that I was getting in SIDTM was very familiar. It didn't sound like a place where you come for the first time. But then I'm here for the first time, and you know, I was puzzled for some time, and then eventually this brainwave hit me that we have actually been hiring out of SIDTM for 2 decades now, more than 2 decades now. And a lot of my and so a lot of my very close colleagues, my peer groups in various groups in our company, supply chain, program management, sales, pre-sales, my subordinates, they are all from SIDTM. So there is a lot of SIDTM sprinkled into Tejas, I'll put it that way. A lot of very healthy cross-pollination between the academia, educational institute, and the industry, which is a good thing. It's a great thing. And so I must congratulate all of you, the students of SIDTM, for and of course the faculty and the management team for building this truly eminent institute out of India, the only MBA college in India which gives us these bright young graduates who also have a grounding in digital and telecom. So you guys are doing a great job. Very valuable and useful for us, and I definitely would like to congratulate all of you for that. And then moving forward, let me also let you know that you guys will be entering the professional world, the business world, the commercial world at a very, very opportune time. This next few years and next few decades actually is going to be the golden period for our telecom industry and also more generally for our country. So that is what I strongly feel, I strongly believe. Some of you may be thinking of this as more like a cliche statement, but believe you me, the opportunity that it's like a little bit like a lot of the stars all around the place are aligned. And the opportunity right now is so unique that sometimes I feel envious of your generation because of that. Of course, in our space, in our industry, the landscape always keeps changing, and the pace of change and the quantum of change, it permanently always keeps on accelerating, right? So that is really the nature of the beast. Can't do anything about it. In fact, the best approach that you can take is keep learning, unlearning, relearning, and reinventing. I mean, that's the mantra. As Abraham Lincoln had said very famously, that the best way to predict the change is to create the change. So if you guys take that kind of an approach in your life, in your career, in your professional journey, I can tell you, you will be able to navigate very, very successfully like a skilled surfer on the sea waves. And at the same time, I have to also tell you very candidly the flip side of it, which is if you are static, happy to be in your own cocoon, your own comfort zone, your own group, your own domain, your own project, your own company, doing the same kind of job, I have to tell you candidly that the going is going to be tough in that case, right? But net, as I said, it's a very, very positive environment, a huge opportunity in front of you. And before I get into the main part of my talk, you guys probably know some stuff about Tejas, but let me tell you what Tejas does. So Tejas is India's first deep technology startup that went from startup to IPO. This company was founded in the year 2000 as a VC-funded startup, went through multiple successive rounds of VC fundings, and eventually went public in 2017. And thereafter, in 2021, Tata Group decided to foray into the space of telecom design and manufacturing. And that's when they acquired a majority stake. 2021, they acquired a majority stake in Tejas. And today, Tejas is a Tata Group company. And what products we do? We started off with high-capacity wireline, carrier-grade transport products, got into last-mile broadband access products, and more recently, we are now also into wireless 4G, 5G, fixed wireless access, as well as mobile wireless access products. And so what is our goal, vision, mission? Very clear. We, Tejas, are on the path, or already are, on the path. We're always on the journey, right? The journey always continues. So we are on the path to becoming India's own indigenous, homegrown networking and telecom equipment company which designs state-of-the-art hardware and software in India, for India, and for the world, right? That's what the vision and the goal of Tejas is. And when you think of Tejas, you can actually think about some of the iconic companies in the telecom equipment space globally. Stalwarts like Ericsson, Nokia, Samsung, Cisco, Juniper. Juniper very recently this week became part of HP Enterprise. So think of Tejas, think of these companies, and that is the league that we are getting into, and we intend to actually far surpass them eventually. So that's our vision of Tejas. That's the path, that's the journey that we are on. And as I said at the start of my talk, a lot of the, we have been fortunate to have a lot of the past SIDDM alumni, a lot of those guys be a part of this journey. Also, we have a lot of focus on R&D. So a lot of innovation, R&D, in-house designs, things of that nature. Among all the public companies in India, Tejas is actually one of the top 3 R&D spenders. R&D in terms of how much dollars you invest in terms of your percentage of revenue, we are one of the top 3. And all this innovative stuff that we do, we cover it up by filing patents. So 445 odd patents filed over the last 2 decades. 750,000 high capacity carrier grade equipment shipped and deployed in India and in 75 countries of the world. So that's really a quick backgrounder about Tejas. And now let me get into the main part of the talk about the trends and the dynamics in the telecom industry. And I'll break it up into 2 parts. Part 1 is more linked to the India growth story. And the part 2 is more linked with certain technical advancements that are happening, changes that are happening in our industry, and some kind of a global reconfiguration of the industry that is happening. So that's how I'll cover it up. So the India growth story, I mean, clearly India is right now in a very unique pole position. As they say, Formula 1, F1 race, when you are in a pole position, you are in a very advantageous position, and that's the situation in which India is currently. But up until very recently, this was not the case. Situation was very different. China was the world's factory. US, Silicon Valley, the hub of technology and innovation. And India was supposed to be the world capital in terms of software, services, IT services, and stuff of that nature, right? But today, things are going into a very, very different trajectory. Today, there is a realization in India, there is a realization in our country about the importance of self-reliance, Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? About the need to have not just software and services and stuff of that nature, but also have intrinsic hardware, software, product, design, manufacturing, intellectual property, right? Intellectual property, very, very important. One is creating intellectual property, and second, we have, how do you monetize the intellectual property, right? And we have aspirations now to actually not just follow telecom standards. Telecom industry is infested with standards all over the place, right? But we now, with this so-called, the resurgent India, we don't just want to follow standards, but we want to create our own standards. And we want to influence the world standards bodies, be it ITU or IEEE or 3GPP, on and on and on, right? So all those things are happening now. There is something called standards essential patents, right? Any generation of technology, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, this is just in wireless, but in any domain, any generation of technology, folks who actually own the standard essential patents, they get to enjoy a lot of money, lot of royalty throughout the life of that technology. So these things are now very well understood in our country, and there is a lot of focus, a lot of emphasis on these areas. There is also a very clear understanding about the fact that if you want to build a product design, product manufacturing ecosystem out of this country, we still have a handicap, right? And that handicap we are actually overcoming at a very, very fast pace. Handicap in terms of infrastructure, handicap in terms of lack of ecosystem, things of that nature. And in some sense, the government, is very, very understanding. They have got this point. They are giving a lot of incentives right now to the industry to enable them overcome this handicap. And these things are all very much well accepted right now. On the infrastructure side itself, for example, again continuing on that thread, very important. Today, in India, like the total cost that we spend on supply chain and logistics, can anyone guess how much it is as a percentage of our GDP? Anybody? 14%, I'll tell you. 14% of our GDP goes into supply chain and logistic cost. If we have a better infrastructure, this 14%, there is a definitive roadmap how you can bring it down to 8%. Right? So that's the importance of physical infrastructure, which is well understood, recognized, and we are on the path of building them very effectively. But much more important than the physical infrastructure is the digital infrastructure, the digital public infrastructure. This is an area in which India, what we have done is amazing. It's truly amazing. We have leapfrogged the entire world. Nowhere else this kind of a digital public infrastructure has been built at scale and created in a manner that suits our needs and implemented at scale, right? So talk about the JAM Trinity, right? Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, Mobile, huge, right? We have given unique digital identity to 1.38 billion people, right? 1.4 billion is the total population. Pretty much all of our population is covered. We have opened 500 million Jan Dhan accounts, direct benefit transfer into the account of the beneficiary without any middleman, without any seepage, without any leakage. That's a huge thing. But not just the direct benefit transfer, it's really about goes few steps further with the cashless economy and the financial inclusion and the fact that a small entrepreneur in a small village can run his business, and over a period of time he creates a trail of transactions, and basis that trail of transactions, the banks can actually fund the growth of his business. Very different from a typical funding model of going to the bank, mortgaging your asset and taking a loan. And our bottom of the pyramid in India doesn't have assets to mortgage, right? So we with all of these kind of initiatives, the digital public infrastructure, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, Mobile stuff, we have put the whole thing into a very positive trajectory now. Also think, just look around and think of it anecdotally, right? How easy it is to get anything done these days through the government. You want to get a passport, go online, apply, make few clicks, and go through the process, and in a predetermined time, you get the passport delivered at home. You want to file a tax return, go online, file your tax returns. We vaccinated this whole country twice over, right? 1.4 billion, twice over, and then the third booster shot in such a streamlined, efficient manner, right? Digi Yatra, right? I just came from Bangalore today, and this whole experience of getting in and getting out of the airport has become so stress-free, so hassle-free, right? And in my current job, I do travel a lot to Europe, and I can tell you some of those high-flying European countries and their airports, and you put them in front of a Bangalore airport or Delhi airport, even Pune airport today I came to the airport. Amazing amount of order, structure, and we are already leaps and bounds ahead of those guys. So this is all because of the digital public infrastructure that has gotten built. There are also challenges. There is the problem of digital divide. So out of our great 1.4 billion population, 881 million have access to internet. But there is the other 40%, the digital haves and the have-nots. So that's a big problem. There is an ITU study conclusively proves that for every 10% increase in broadband penetration of a society, there is a 1% increase in GDP. Now, try to apply this to India. Our economy this year, $3.5 trillion, they're about 3.45, something like that. 1% of that, $34 billion. So this 40% of those unconnected population, every 10% step that we take, there is a $34 billion we add into our GDP straight away. And this is accretive. Over the years, it will go on building, right? So, and just to put this 35 billion number in perspective, our great IT services industry, the crown jewel, what India has done over the last 3 decades, big credit to them. But what is the size of our total IT services industry? All of the Infosys, Wipro, TCS, Accenture, you name all of them. The total size of our IT services business in India is around $250 billion, out of which 200 billion we are exporting. And now put this number in context of the 35, just by a 20% increase in broadband penetration, you're getting a 35 billion, right? Similarly, few more numbers, just to put it in perspective. What is the balance of trade in India? The gap between import and export. Again, $250 billion. We struggle so much to cut that gap, right? The oil bill, the net of oil import versus export, right? We import crude oil and we export petroleum product. Net of that, $140 billion. That is a big gap. That is a big struggle. So the point I'm trying to make here is that broadband reaching to the last mile, to the last person, makes a big difference. The problem is who pays the money, who invests it. And for private sector, I am from the private sector, you know, the ROI, the calculations don't fall in place. There have been some notable initiatives in the industry like Jio trying to touch the bottom of the pyramid, coming up with the products for them. But net-net, to build this kind of an infrastructure, it is the government which is actually has to take the role, and in India, the government has taken a very big role. I'll talk about two big projects of the Indian government, where we, Tejas, have also had the proud opportunity to be a part of and contribute our bit. The first project is the BharatNet project of Indian government. So this is a project to connect villages on fiber. Phase 1 and phase 2 of this project is over. 200,000 villages are already connected on fiber, FTTX technology based on GPON, designed by Tejas, homegrown indigenous product, and a lot of budget allocated for this. Phase 1, phase 2 are already over, 200,000 done, 640,000 villages over the next 2.5, 3 years is what they will cover. There is some 1.39 lakh crore of budget already allocated for that, which is some $17 billion. So huge money being pumped in here. Second project, the BSNL project, our own favorite BSNL is now launching a 4G, 5G network. 100,000 towers. 100,000 towers with a 4G, 5G base stations built from a pure Indian ecosystem. There are 3 ecosystem partners there. Tejas provides the RAN. The core comes from CDOT. And the services solution and the rollout and system integration comes from TCS. So it's a nice ecosystem play coming into place. Again, a huge project, $24,500 is the allocation only for the first phase of 100,000 base stations. Out of that $24,500, the equipment piece is 13,000 crores, which is about $15 billion, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is huge money is being pumped in, and the right things and the right set of tools are being put in place to enable our young population to make a good benefit of our demographic dividend, right? And we are far behind, far beyond, being only the IT and the software services capital. Today in India, we're talking about product design, hardware design, intellectual property, standards creation, the number of registered startups in India. Any guesses, or you guys are very well informed MBA students, you probably know the number, right? 100,000 registered startups in India, huge. This was not the case 5, 7, 8 years back. This was not the case. And I stay in Bangalore. The locality where I stay in Bangalore is called HSR Layout. In that small locality, somebody told me there are 8,000 startups, registered startups. So if I throw a stone, very likely it's going to literally fall into a startup. So all those are good things, and I'll just summarize this India growth story, my feelings about it, by taking a cue from the movie Gully Boy. Ranveer Singh sings this song, Apna Time Aayega. So all I like to say is, Apna Time Aa Gaya Hai. That's the India growth story. Am I, okay, how am I doing on time? Okay, I'll go to the second part, the technology changes part, quickly. So I was sitting in the audience, listening to some really good discussion on generative AI. My brain cells got opened up. And so the number one big change, ubiquitous, impacting all the facets of how we, do our day-to-day work, our business, our systems, everything is getting impacted with that. From the perspective of telecom service providers, where and how can telecom service providers actually practically apply? Many areas, but few key areas. Number one is in the customer experience part of it. Lot of things can be done to improve the customer experience. Number two, and the big one, is in the network operations part. How you plan the network, how you run the network, how you operate the network, right? In the telco community, in the communication service provider community, one of the biggest parameter or closely watched number is the OPEX, right? OPEX is a big deal for every operator, balance sheet and their expenses, and how do they get a good bottom line. All global operators put together, all CSPs, communication service put together, spending about $1.4 trillion in network operations. And of that, 1.4 trillion in OPEX. Out of that 1.4 trillion that they spend in OPEX, 27% goes only into the network operations, some 350, 380 billion odd. Big number, right? And AI can actually completely change the paradigm, the way things are done there in terms of traffic management, congestion management, network optimization, load balancing. There is a completely different way in which you can do, and you can, end of the day, save a lot of cost besides being efficient and effective. So, customer experience was one. The second one that I just mentioned was network operations. Third one, important one, there are many, but I'll only cover 2 or 3. The third one is AI playing a role in ESG, environmental social governance. Big thing, hot topic of discussions. Energy costs have gone up after the war, and especially in places like Europe and all, it's a big deal. And in general, climate change is a problem, and there are some targets being set of how we want to actually control global warming, and we want to bring the temperature 1 degree down, and there are some implications on us because of that. So in ESG area, again, to save power, to optimize power, to look at traffic patterns, to look at consumer behavior, turn off power, turn off a car, turn off a port, put it in sleep mode when it is not using. All of those optimizations can be done much better, much effectively with AI. So that's the first technology trend, first big technology trend that I wanted to talk about. The second one is to do with security and trust. So with the new geopolitical order currently, governments have become extremely sensitive to this aspect of security and trust, and almost to the point like data breaches or data siphoning is a serious sovereign concern today, right? So all the countries, all the governments are actually legislating, putting laws in place to control and manage their network and the security of their network. I'll just share some anecdotes. I take care of more sales, business development, so we come across a lot of RFPs. Any RFPs, when an operator has to select a vendor, there are 2 key steps, right? A technical bid and a commercial bid. You submit an offer, technically compliant, you pass the technical compliance, you go to the commercial stage, and then they select the vendor. But now the paradigm is changed. The new RFPs, even before you go for a commercial bid or a technical bid, there is a first earlier gate to cross, and that gate is called security clearance. And that security clearance, it's a pretty elaborate and extensive due diligence that these guys do. They'll ask you about how you do your secure hardware development, how you secure your software development, how is your IT infrastructure secured, what components are you using in your hardware, what is the origin of those components, what components are you using in your software, your own components, third-party components, open source components, who are the promoters of your company, what is their background, what is their track record. It's pretty much like, they go through your Janam Kundli in very simple terms, right? And then when you pass through that elaborate process, you get the tick mark of security clearance, and then you get to actually participate in the commercial and technical bid. So that's how these international RFPs from various regions of the world are panning out today, right? So that's, even in India, by the way, so I talked about international, but even in India, we have put this, what they call NSCS, the National Security Coordination Secretariat. This department has been put under the NSA, which is advising our PM office. And every network in India has to have mandatorily an approval, same kind of due diligence process, and an approval before they can actually, anybody can operate a network in India. And not just the networking vendor, down in the food chain, it is equipment vendors like us. We also have to get a product certified unless today any product, unless it has got those certifications, it's not that any Tom, Dick and Harry can come and plug any equipment into any telecom network in India. No, not possible anymore. So that was about the security bit. The third big one that I want to talk about is this whole dynamics between telco and OTT space. I don't know, I don't have a watch in front, at least I didn't know at the time there is a watch, but how much more time do I have? It's running short. I'll speed it up. So what I'll do is, since we are short of time, a few months back I had done a podcast with Accenture. There were some co-panelists from Accenture in which I have talked about these topics, but let me just quickly walk you through and finish my talk. So I'll skip the telco and OTT, but some very, very interesting dynamics across telco and OTT. Keep it for some other day. And in fact, rather than talking about technology trends, let me just close with one or two more subjective inputs that I want to give you, not just about the technology, not just about the business, but two very important messages that I just wanted to give you. One is about passion. Passion is very, very important in life, in personal life and also in professional life. If you are working, if you are doing, going through your professional journey without passion, it's meaningless. It's like a 9-to-5 job, right? Every job will have two aspects. Something that you find really, really interesting, you love to do, but there is also some mundane stuff, some operational stuff that you have to do. And the people who are very high on passion, the people who are very strongly connected to a sense of purpose, they actually enjoy all types of work that they have to do during the journey, and they are also generally a lot more successful. So that was the first abstract message I want to give you. And the second abstract message I wanted to give you was with respect to, again, abstract things like culture, attitude, people, relationships. And these things are really, really very, very important. We are all in this professional world. We get measured on our performance, technical skills, professional skills, job skills, very, very important. I'm not undermining their importance. But those softer aspects, the attitude, culture, people, relationships, they are on a completely different pedestal, a different currency. And so if you think about it that way and work on it in that way during your professional journey, you should stand to gain a lot. With that, once again, thank you very much for this opportunity. It has been a pleasure and privilege to be here. I wish you, all of you, all the best for your future, and thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, sir. The perspectives you shared on innovation, resilience, the unique contribution of telecom vendors, as well as the beautiful life lessons while concluding your note were both thought-provoking and inspiring. Now, I request the seminar committee to kindly step forward and felicitate our esteemed speaker.
Can we have a huge round of applause for sir, please? Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move toward the end of this glorious event, we need to acknowledge the leadership, the commitment, the determination, and the relentless effort that have steered this event to mammoth scale. I am highly delighted to invite my dear friend, Mr. Ayush Sharma, Chief Coordinator, Communique'24, to deliver the valedictory address on stage. The stage is all yours, Ayush.
Thank you, Atul, for that invitation. It felt like I've been called here for a dance performance. Well, nevertheless, good evening, everyone. I, Ayush Sharma, Chief Coordinator, International Digital and Telecom Seminar, want to take this opportunity to sincerely thank everyone who made Communique'24 a grand success. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. Ramakrishnan Raman sir, Dr. C.A. Abhijit Chirputkar sir, Deputy Director Dr. Giri Hallur sir, for their unending support. A special thank goes to Miss Bhakti Vyavare ma'am, our convener, for her unwavering support, zeal, and constant guidance. I'll never forget your 9 a.m. calls, ma'am, for the updates that you take. Uh, I want to express gratitude to all the MOCs, Srishti, Atul, Shaunak, and Mansha for their immense hard work contributing to the success of Communique'24. The efforts that the ACADS team put into managing things on the D-Day are truly commendable. I also want to thank all the faculties, non-teaching staff, and kakas who have directly or indirectly lent us their support throughout the years. On this occasion, I would like to express my gratitude towards Rekha ma'am, Renuka ma'am, and Mr. Srinivas sir for their constant support on the academic front. A big thank you to the entire Brandcom team for branding and providing event with such exposure on social media. I am highly grateful to the ninjas of our event, Web and Tech team, for their creative designs and captivating videos. A big round of applause for Web and Tech team. I appreciate the contribution of Spurs for the ISR activity that our institute has recently took. Rishabh and Mitali, a big thank you to you. Placements and corporate interface team and alumni relations team for their support and contribution to the event. I want to thank Rahul sir, our IT team, Sagar sir, Pankaj sir, and logistic administrator Madhura ma'am for their support in the backend and runtime coordination of the event, making the preparations look so simple. A big thank you to the admin department for their approvals. And now, I would like to express my gratitude to the people who stood by me the entire time of International Digital and Telecom Seminar. A big round of applause for our Vice Chief Coordinator, Pushkar Medekar, Corporate Relations Head, Sudhanshu Deshpande, Content Head, Ananya Srivastav, Logistics Head, Harshit, Shriya, Saurabh, and my junior team, Vivek, Mukul, Ajinkya, Abhishek, Ginisha, Adesh, Shruti, Shubham, Vishrut, Shazar, and Siddhika. Last but not the least, I want to thank all my friends, especially Ananya, Sriti, Gautami, Manthan, Ashlesh. A big round of applause to these guys because they have always been by my side when I needed them. So I don't know why I'm feeling overwhelmed because this event is ending. I've really worked hard. My team has really worked hard for this event. I feel very sad to say this, but now we are signing off Communique'24. Thank you everyone, and thank you audience for your immense patience and your constant support to the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayush. For a moment, I got emotional. Moving further.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we are signing off for the day, may your dreams be as limitless as the potential of technology. This is Shrishti Bajpayee, and alongside me is the incredible Atul Srivastav. As we conclude today's event, we want to express our gratitude for your presence and engagement. Thank you for being a fantastic audience. Until we meet again, stay inspired and have a wonderful evening.
This is me, Atul Srivastav, and Srishti Bajpayee signing off. Thank you so much.
Thank you.